Hello and welcome to and back to the Social Hotelier video podcast with me, Sam-Erik Ruttmann. We have some incredible guest speakers lined up for you, including Céline Vadam, Hospitality of the Future think tank co-founder and wellness coach, and Hilton Lipkin, a global wellness tourism initiative influencer based in Vietnam. But also we have somebody from Finland coming up in the future podcasts, Aki Keskitalo. He is the fearless general manager of the historical Hotel Torni in Helsinki, and he's competing in the Finnish version of The Apprentice. So you're not going to want to miss out on these interesting discussions that we're having coming up. But today we have a very special guest with us. He's an international expert on artificial intelligence, disruptive technologies, and digital marketing. He has written multiple books on articles on these topics and has been featured in various media outlets. I'm thrilled to introduce to you Lasse Rouhiainen. Lasse's insights on the future of AI and digital marketing is invaluable, and it will surely leave you inspired. So let's dive in and chat with him about the latest trends and technologies shaping our future. And by the way, I did not write this introduction myself. It was written by Chat GPT. So welcome, Lasse, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Sam-Erik. It's a pleasure to be here again, and thank you so much for these valuable insights and interviews that you do.
Well, I'm fascinated about learning about these things, and you somehow have hooked me up on this on artificial intelligence for a long time, and since we've been knowing each other, so I've been keeping on learning what you do, and this Chat GPT was really one of those things I did not really pay a lot of attention to, but when I saw they were posting on YouTube already some videos, I thought, well, I think I better catch up on what has been going on since November this year. So, but could you explain what is this phenomena called the Chat GPT, and why has it grown so apparently so fast? I understand about 100 million users after 2 months, and way faster than the media platforms like TikTok or Instagram.
Exactly. I would say it is one of the biggest things that has happened in AI that will impact every person who uses the internet. And right now we don't understand the impact of this change. So we can say that AI has had like two different waves. The first one was big tech companies that created like ranking systems or systems that are using or modify how Facebook and Instagram work. This was all done by using AI and machine learning, and also TikTok. And who got benefit from this were the owners of these amazing platforms. But until now, let's say normal people were not able to use amazing interfaces when they were using AI, and there was not really extremely good tools. And that all changed a few months back when OpenAI launched their Chat GPT, which is the version 3.5. A lot of people have been now using it for getting or creating amazing content, and also getting ideas and brainstorming ideas about starting a new business. But you can also use it as a personal coach and basically for everything. So every problem or challenge you have in life, you can ask feedback and ideas from this chatbot. And Elon Musk said, maybe it's good to mention, that we have had this kind of amazing AI for last 2 years. However, it has only been possible to use if you are working for a big company like Tesla or Google or Microsoft or any of these big things or big companies. Now it's the first time that normal people, everybody has this interface that you can use like cutting edge AI and have it to improve your life and your business.
I have noticed now recently that particularly in Instagram, there's a lot of people promoting various subscription-based, or they're selling classes in how to use the Chat GPT, and so it has actually grown very, very, very quickly. And you know that the tourism and hotel industry is quite a little bit behind the curve, and I think this is why I want to point out that it will be very interesting to learn your thoughts on how this works, and that gives us a chance to, particularly the independent hotels, to evaluate that they should really consider. What do you think is what would we give some user cases how to use Chat GPT correctly?
Good, and that's really valid point. I would say it's such a good tool that it's kind of like difficult to understand why we should spend as much time as we should. I recommend everybody to have it open and use at least one half an hour or 1 hour a day, because you learn as you go. Tourism companies should recognize that first time in history they can have 1, 2, 3 or even 5 workers without paying anything. And what this means is basically ChatGPT can be a worker that many times ChatGPT can make like your how would I say your repetitive work. So first thing is that you think what kind of repetitive work your workers are doing. Many of that can be done with ChatGPT in really fast. And then one other thing you can do is you will, how ChatGPT works is you have to learn prompting. Prompts are these sentences or words that you write to ChatGPT. And what happens is this is the same as any chatbot. But many years, some chatbots have not been so good. So a lot of people think that this is the same as you go and ask like, hey, how many people live in Italy, for example, and it gives the answer and that's it. No, that's not it. This one, you have to describe better. You have to give it context. So you have to say that, hey, I'm a small hotel in the center of Rome, and these are our strong points, and these are our challenges as a business. Please give me like 5 areas that ChatGPT can help me. So what I did there, that was a long prompt, and that will give like a context to ChatGPT, and it's really good to learn and give answers when you give it context. And ChatGPT will give you amazing answer, and that answer you can fine tune and make better. So for example, it will give you answer there, and you can say explain that in more detail or give me examples and so on. So in other words, don't stop when it gives you the answer. You want to continue and ask more and more questions.
So that's interesting. You mentioned the prompts which are the specific questions, and you have to be very focused in the context and the content. I read somewhere that maybe the most important skill a worker can have or a person can have in the future is how well they ask these, do the prompts with artificial intelligence, different like Chat GPT. Is that how you see it also?
Yeah, exactly. So this is why this has changed everything. So we can, if you go back, how technology has been growing. First, it was like people who were using type machine, and then all of a sudden people had personal computers. So the change was amazing, right? We didn't even anymore need type machine. And then we had all of a sudden Microsoft launched, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and people who knew how to use those were able to do things faster than others who were just browsing the internet. And it's kind of like the same here. People who learn how to do prompting and are improving and getting better with the learning curve with prompting, they are the ones who get the most benefit from this. And they are ready when ChatGPT or other similar tools will get better, because now we are only in the beginning. There will be many other tools. The most amazing thing is that those tools will be significantly better than the earlier ones. So when you learn how to be really good at prompting and use it in your day-to-day work, when the next tool comes or the next version, you will be one of the first ones to take advantage. And this is something I really want to highlight and get people excited. If you just think it's a normal chatbot, it doesn't work, you will be left out, and you will miss big opportunities in the future. So as a summary, it's like you said, in the future, the most valuable skill is how well you talk to computer, because every computer will have some kind of AI interface. I think Salesforce launched today their own chatbot. HubSpot has launched their chatbot. Microsoft will put this technology in every tool that they have, even Outlook, PowerPoint, Microsoft Teams, everywhere. You will be able to use this chat, and it will be like your co-pilot, as the CEO of Microsoft said, and it will help your work tremendously.
Yeah. I mean, the big change we have now previously was that, and considering now that the hotel industry is like behind the curve in many things when it comes to digitalization, and once the COVID hit, then suddenly all the hotels will start to invest into keyless entries, digital concierges, self check-in, and many other things that was not unheard of, but they were not spending a lot of money on technology. Do you think there's a way of the future now with the Chat GPT, for instance, that there will be less human contact, or is that remaining an important part of the hospitality experience?
Yeah, I see it as an important part of the hospitality experience, the human contact. In Japan, there used to be a hotel that had almost everything, like robotization with robots, and then they fired many of the robots. And the reason was that people found it so cold. There was not, the guest experience was not the same. And even I'm actually leaving in 2 days to Middle East to talk about AI and ChatGPT. And when I come, the country where I go is Oman. When I come to Oman, it would be really sad to have like a robot talking to me or some kind of chat interface. And it will be amazing to see local people and talk with them. So I think it's always this balance. But first, what we should prioritize is how do we find those dull work, like filling out forms or cleaning up Excels, all these things you can give to ChatGPT or similar things. And what you really want to be is you want to be the hotel that has the best guest service, the best experience, right, with other humans. And I think that's the big opportunity to combine these two.
Yeah. What has happened now in the industry is that when hotel industry did not spend a lot of didn't invest into technology and marketing, other platforms like Booking.com and Expedia took over, and they really took over the industry in the sense that the customers start to book using Expedia and Booking.com for the experience rather than contacting the hotel directly. And I have a suspicion, and I'm sure we can see not long in the future is that the Booking.coms and Expedia will take over with their using the AI and the bots like Chat GPT, and because it's such a conversational platform or bot, so and this is the danger I see for independent hotels, because they are not maybe getting on board on this, and now you have then suddenly a person who books through Booking.com, and then the chatbot say, well, he books his flight ticket somewhere, and then let's say to Barcelona, and said, well, by the way, we have a hotel here nearby the airport, so why don't you book there? So they are making a very confidentially, with confidence, a suggestion to the booker where to stay, and that's where independent hotels particularly will be in a kind of a weaker situation. But I also think that the big chains like Marriott and the Accor and all these big companies will definitely take advantage of this technology, and so I think the independent hotel better start to use, learn how to use the Chat GPT as it is available now, since we are still in the maybe initial stages in this journey, that they can get the most benefit, and then also have a fighting chance in the situation.
Yeah, your analysis is extremely correct. I think it's really interesting. For example, Booking, how much power they have. And why they have power? Because they have so much data. Somebody who has the most data in every industry normally wins. So I also see it in the same way. But at the same time, now we are in the time of democratization of AI tools, and a small hotel should quickly start using this, because you can do so many things, like even analyzing your customers. You can like analyze your customers, or if all of a sudden you have a lot of I don't know, tourists who come from Japan, you can say, hey, what are the 5 things, or you can ask ChatGPT, what are the 5 things that Japanese tourists really like, and how I could adapt my hotel for Japanese tourists. And this, you get the answer in seconds, and it can give you, again, competitive advantage when you do this kind of thing. And the other thing I would say is also extremely interesting how Microsoft is launching soon Bing Chat, which is really similar. Obviously, Google will have its competitors as well, but with Bing Chat, you can ask these tendencies in real time, so to speak. So again, you can like plan for the future, and all of a sudden you have like tools that earlier big chains like Marriott and Hilton, they were paying a lot of money for using same kind of tools that would give same kind of input when it comes to like short-term trends and so on. So therefore, I want to say that the ChatGPT is extremely versatile, or Bing Chat, and definitely something that you have to see is your extra worker, and if you use it well, it will be 5 extra workers, and so on. And it's like a new paradigm of writing these prompts all the time.
Yeah. For hotels, I've been thinking about this now. How the kind of Chat GPT can be beneficial for hotels. One is in communication with the guest. Also, eventually, I think revenue management in somehow can be considered, and also the areas where you see which are the repetitive tasks in the hotel. That's where the Chat GPT can be of very beneficial, and so kind of frees the kind of the person to do other things rather than sitting around the Excel and so on. I mean, so these are only some things, but I think I'm very curious to see how hotels will embrace this idea of using it is for customer service when somebody's planning of traveling, and because it's not too long ago when you saw hotels that have message services, and has to be typed up by a human on the other side, and then there was the answer came usually automatically. We will answer you after the weekend because we are on holiday or something like that. That was a little bit of a sad situation, but with having a Chat GPT kind of a bot that I was just wondering how they can be trained, or how does a hotel prepare that the Chat GPT can answer all kinds of questions that the customer may have before they consider booking. Any thoughts on that?
Well, you can like train it in several ways. There are more technical ways, but there's also a way of doing it in non-technical way. For example, you can say that our customers are asking these 5 questions every time. Give me 5 other questions that are similar to these. So in other words, you teach it context, that these are the questions, and it's so good because this is the version 3.5, and they have teach it to code and logic. So in logic, it's really good and really fast, and it even has this kind of like way of creativity that we humans don't have because we are busy and don't think. So you can do these kind of things, that you give it feedback, you give it like an example, and then you can say like, give me 5 similar examples. Or you can give your emails that you send to your customer as a confirmation email, and can say, how would you improve this? That's another thing. And obviously creating content for your website, that if you're a small hotel, that's what you should be doing all day long now, because with ChatGPT you can generate like 5 excellent articles a day, whereas earlier it took long time to do like really good article. So again, the possibilities are kind of like limitless. And I would say that if the payment or the price of this tool would be like 500 euros a month, then companies would pay and would get out of that much. But since it's now free, the Plus account, which I highly recommend for businesses, it's 20 euros, but it never goes down and it's amazing. Doesn't have really limitations. So it's 20 euros a month, and so it's so few, not a lot of money, and people don't understand that it's so good in many of the things.
I've been playing around with it a little bit. I mean, I started with the usual thing. I asked Chat GPT, recommend 10 ice cream parlors in Rome, center of Rome. And it didn't take very long before I got those top 10 where I should visit when I go to Rome next time, or things along those lines, to start very easy way to get used to, and then have some follow-up questions. And I remember watching your YouTube about how to create Instagram posts or titles and including emojis, and I tried that, and that also worked very quickly and very useful. So you don't have to worry about, well, how much should I write for this particular post? What kind of what should I write for Instagram, which is Instagrammable? And in fact, you got that answer right. So it was quite nice.
It is. And by the way, I was just thinking before our meeting or this interview that like I said, this is the first time that we have such a powerful tool. When I remember when you did this one course I had on Hotelier about, it was AI in modern business, we talked there about computer vision, which is this interesting thing. And you were actually the first one who, I had the link there for this demo of computer vision, and you said that, hey, you can also use this for YouTube thumbnails, if you remember. So that was interesting. But that was like first application 4 years ago. Only like maybe 1% of YouTubers use that, or really little, not many. And now again, it's all about this thing of starting to use it. And then you exchange prompts with your colleagues, and you have a file in your computer regarding the best prompts. I'm also learning about best prompts, and many of them are longer. So you start with something really short, and then longer and more specific you are, the better. And again, don't be afraid of if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can always make the prompt better, but it's staggering and really good, and works for everything basically.
Yeah. Well, to have a balanced discussion, we have to also talk about the downside. And what is the downside people should be aware of with Chat GPT?
Yeah. So it's important to know these limitations. Number one, it's not connected to internet, so it has been trained until 2021. So some of the it doesn't pick some new things and so on. However, again, there's new other options coming, like Bing Chat and others that are connected to today. That's one. And then obviously it can make mistakes, because sometimes basically how it works, it has been trained with all the data and information that is online. So one person told me a funny thing, that in Finland he was looking for speakers in particular topic, and ChatGPT said that, yeah, this person Maija something is excellent in that thing. And then when he was searching for this person, there was no such person, but that person was in some kind of book that ChatGPT had read, so it was not a real person. So this was a funny example when it also makes mistakes, and you should be aware of that as well. But it's getting better, and you kind of like learn as you go. But yeah, those are some of the things. It also knows how to do like contracts. You can say, hey, make me a contract of, I don't know, I'm renting my apartment in Stockholm, and make a like rental agreement or contract. So when you do those things, it's really good to make like a sample version, but then obviously you have to check that everything is correct and everything is according to the latest legislation and so on. But it gives you like a to the halfway or 70 or 85% correct. And many times these are things that you would not have time if you would do it from the zero. For example, this contract or any kind of thing. And another thing I would say is that small hotels, most of them use Excel. So I recommend to number one, start using Power BI or Power B from Microsoft, because you can have like real-time data and you can connect it with many things. So that's one recommendation. But the other recommendation is, as soon as Microsoft will put Chat GPT in Excel, I think that will be amazing, because now you can be like an average user of Excel like myself, but I will just say that, hey, create this and that macro or all kinds of advanced things that only advanced Excel users know that have done a course or some kind of master of 3 months of Excel. So I would say that when it comes to also revenue management, this will be huge, because you can have more detailed analysis of where you are as a hotel when it comes to your cost and your revenue and so on, and you don't have to like hire extra person. You will use ChatGPT from directly from Excel.
Okay. And I also just kind of wonder, when are we going to see the that you can incorporate pictures and videos when you are communicating? For instance, ChatGPT is a text-based, but then if you want to have somebody that it makes a video or picture that incorporate the whole total experience for you, is it combined with some other applications, or what is your comment on that?
Yeah. Well, the ChatGPT 4.0 is also coming this year, which I think is like amazing. My recommendation would be that it would come later, because still so many people need to learn this version. It's all sometimes not good to go so fast. And they have said that version doesn't have maybe that integration, but who knows? Maybe they will add it. I don't know. But there are other tools. So it would be, like you said, combination. You would use ChatGPT. And then if you like to use Midjourney, is one. But I recommend for busy business people, I recommend Canva. If you go to Canva and you click on apps, there's an app called Text to Image. Okay. And this is using a similar generative AI model called Stable Fusion. And basically you can say, create a real looking picture of the center of Rome, and the AI will create a picture that you can use on your website. So all of a sudden you don't have to use these expensive websites where you buy images or take yourself. So anyhow, that's something that I think is also extremely good for everybody, not only hotels, but everybody who works in a travel sector, because all of a sudden you can create a lot of images. And then this video, text to video, is also coming. Facebook has been playing around with it, and it's really interesting that Mark Zuckerberg, at the same time that he's laying off people, like last night he also announced new layoffs at Facebook, because he says that this year is the year of efficiency. But where he's investing is creating a new generative AI team, which again means that these tools will come to Facebook, Instagram, every platform that Facebook is using will have some kind of some kind of chat that can do something like write text, or can create like images, videos, and so on. There's also, when you asked about limitations, we have to say that that's one of the dangers, is that you can so easily create these videos and images of everybody and put it to say something they don't want to say. It's highly likely we will see this in the US elections, which I think are in 2 years, and even the campaign before that. So that's one bad and negative area of AI that we should teach people more and more.
Yeah. Very good, Lasse. You have given some great insight on this, and we're just scratching the surface on this topic. But lastly, if people are interested to find out more about your activities, how can they find you? How can they connect with you, if you will?
Sure. So my LinkedIn is the best. They can add me there and put a note that you came from this podcast, or you can subscribe my videos on YouTube, where I will be posting more videos about ChatGPT and AI tools in general. So those are two options.
Very good. Well, Lasse, thank you very much. This has been a very insightful, and I learned so much already in this session. So I'd like to thank all the viewers who have joined us, and this particular segment will also be available as a podcast. So if you want to just listen while you're jogging, then we will be in your ears also for that session. So look forward to seeing everyone, and thank you again, Lasse, and we look forward to see everyone again in the next segments, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So all the best for you.